I know some of you have been waiting a really long time holding out with the Mavic 2 Pro, and this is a huge decision because, as you saw last night, these drones are not cheap. Now, from the keynote, there is three main reasons that they were talking about getting this Mavic 3.
One, the dual camera system. An incredible Hasselblad camera with a stunning 4/3 CMOS sensor.
Now that's huge, and probably the most important part of this discussion is the camera, because that's the meat and potatoes. That's really what you're paying for. Right now there isn't a micro four thirds camera on any portable drone. It's a little bigger than the Mavic 2 Pro, but it is lighter. Just a little bit bigger. So that's a huge feat. That's definitely hard work put into play by DJI there. And that's probably what's driving up the price. Now, this telescopic lens for exploring spots, as it is right now as a finished release product, it's a kind of a gimmick. They say it's for exploring, so I get it. When you're up in the air, now you have more flight time, right? You got this advertised 46 minutes of flight time. You can explore around, you can zoom in on things, see different angles and say, hey, there's something out there. Maybe I can fly over there. Now that you've got the OcuSync 3 Plus, which is probably not much different from OcuSync 2, not much different from OcuSync 1, as a matter of fact. Since OcuSync 1, I've been very satisfied, and the changes since then has been very incremental. The main changes I've seen is the quality of video that comes back to your phone or to your smart controller. And this one here does something like 1080p 60 frames a second, which is insane quality. So if you're looking for a transmission quality feed coming back to your phone so you can see finer details, 1080p 60 is beautiful. But outside of that, transmission wise, since OcuSync 1, they've all been fantastic, and this one I'm sure is going to be no different. But as you're getting more flight time, and I've seen reviewers getting from 25 minutes pushing this drone, and then firmware updates have been applied and they're getting 31 to 33 minutes, which is still a lot. And we know all drones say 50 minutes, 45 minutes, and you never get that. So we're not expecting to get 46 minutes out of this drone. I think 30 minutes is reasonable if you squeeze the life out of this, 30, 31. So from what I've been seeing, expect that. And that's good. That's extra time to explore. But I just feel like they could have just put a regular digital zoom on the micro four thirds camera. I didn't feel like adding this extra camera with this extra sensor and not giving us manual control over it, and it's only a 4K camera, kind of defeats the purpose of exploring. Just put a digital zoom in there, because the quality doesn't look that good. And I feel like they did that just to entice hobbyists. And when you look back at the Air 2S, a lot of people didn't upgrade from the Air 2 to the Air 2S because they felt like, number one, they don't fly at night. So to have that extra one instance, it didn't really make much sense to spend that extra couple $100. And they lost some battery life. So to a lot of people, it wasn't really a worthy trade-off. And I think DJI looked at that and said, people are going to say the same thing about this if we just throw the micro four thirds sensor in there. People are going to look at it, hobbyists are going to look at it at least, and say it's not worth the extra money, and not a couple $100. We're going to talk about the price in a little bit. That's another story. But a lot of hobbyists and prosumers are going to say it's not worth the extra money just for a bigger sensor, and they don't really fly at night. So I figured they added that in as a kind of a hype to draw the hobbyist or the prosumer in, and look, it's got two cameras instead of just one with a zoom, but not really functionable. So take that into consideration, right? I don't think that selling this drone even to just professionals at that price point, that there are enough professionals out there to make that much money. So they had to appeal to hobbyists. And if you're a hobbyist or a prosumer, then they're reaching out to you with this extra camera. But as a hobbyist or a prosumer who doesn't spend a lot of time video editing or doesn't understand video editing, there's a huge learning curve there. And to say you're going to maximize it, no. When you're going to post your videos and photos in the groups, people are still going to ask you which drone, which camera, right? A good photo is a good photo. You're not really going to be able to tell much difference. And then how many places are you really going to explore? You're going to go back and shoot that same boat or that same scene that you've shot many times with your Air 2 or your Air 2S or your Mavic 2 Pro. It's not going to look that much different, right? So just take that into consideration when it comes to spending a minimum of $2,199.
2, a APAS 5.0 comes with an omnidirectional obstacle sensing system, autonomously sensing obstacles in all directions, like a careful assistant that protects your footage.
Now, this can be pretty exciting from the standpoint, I don't know about the APAS 5.0, but I know it's about time that a Mavic had 360 omnidirectional so we don't hit anything, right? If we get engulfed in the shot, flying sideways, at least we don't crash into anything. That might not, just like any other drone, might not see fine, very thin electrical wires or telephone wires and stuff like that. So you really have to be careful flying low still. But this, I think, is a really good must-have for safety and just having a little bit more protection, extra protection while you fly, right? Now, in terms of this being like a Skydio 2, I doubt it, because the Skydio 2 has got 4K sensors, 4K camera sensors sensing this information, has a ballistic processor on it that's processing all this information in real time, 4 seconds ahead. I didn't hear them mentioning any kind of technology like that. So ideally, if you're looking for tracking, then a Skydio is definitely, I think, the way to go. It's nice that you have a little bit of tracking capability if you want a sprinkle of tracking. That's a little better than the Mavic 2 Pro. I'm sure it is better than the Mavic 2 Pro. And it has side sensors, which the Air 2S doesn't have. So it's definitely better for tracking sideways. So you can't go wrong with that. But in terms of expectations, I would tell you manage it, because the technology is just not the same like what Skydio has. Remember, if you put this in a very tracking intensive situation or tracking challenging situation, it probably will crash. And then when it crashes, you'll have to wait 2 to 3 weeks before DJI can replace it. You can use your refresh care or whatever it is. It does take time to replace a drone, and you'll be out of a drone. And if you have an Air 2S, then you could consider taking an Air 2S and getting a Skydio. And then if the Skydio crashes, you have the Air 2S. If the Air 2S crashes, you have the Skydio. You always have a drone. But to spend $2,400 just to get started and then throw that up for tracking, it's not something I would do. I had the Evo 2 Pro. You guys know about that drone, and I didn't even track with it. I used it once. I wasn't satisfied with it, but that's not what I purchased the drone for. I would always use a Skydio if I needed tracking. I just never tracked with it. I never even reviewed the tracking. And if I pick up this drone, I probably will not put a $22,000 to $5,000 drone to track, because it probably will hit something. Especially here, the trees are starting to lose their leaves and winter's coming, and that's a scenario for this drone to fail. So yeah, take that into consideration when you spend your money. But this is nice to have, but I won't say this is a major feature that you should rely on. Now, coming back to the camera, it is a 20 megapixel camera sensor. So when it comes to photos, I don't think you're going to notice much difference between this and your Air 2S or your Mavic 2 Pro. So if you're photo intense, you really have to think about whether it's worth that upgrade for you or not, to spend that extra money when the photos are not going to be that much different. And a lot of hobbyists and prosumers, they tend to do photos because it's faster, it's easier to edit and put out there and to get feedback in Facebook groups and stuff like that. So they tend to lean on photos. So if you're just photocentric, bear that in mind. And if you think that buying this drone is going to make you get into video, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. But if you're already into video and you're very meticulous about quality, then you'll notice the difference. Others may not when you post it on Facebook or YouTube because of the compression that these sites use, right? If you had clients that were complaining about the quality of your drone footage, I've never had that. I've used the Air 2S, the Evo 2 Pro, and my clients have never complained. So this is a lot of camera, though. It is a lot of camera, and it is a lot of money, and that basically boils down to what you're paying for.
I can't wait to show you this camera in action. So let's go. Follow me outside for...
See, the primary focus is the camera. Now, the advanced return to home is definitely a big feature that he's talking about there. That will save you a lot of battery life too, because instead of having to go up to come back home, it'll fly straight across, avoid the obstacles because it's got better obstacle avoidance now, and find its way back home without having to rise up. So that's pretty cool. That's a big benefit that only this can have because of the 360 omni directional obstacle avoidance, and it's something that other Mavic drones just won't be able to have because they don't have those many sensors. So this is really cool. It's really nice. But then again, it's not something I would really need. I usually fly my drone, get my shots, and then fly it back manually. So I guess this is good if you're a beginner, but this is a hefty price to pay for a beginner. Now that 4G dongle, I don't know when it's coming, but that's insane for people who want long range. So if you really want to go to the moon, I guess this is your opportunity to fly to the moon. That's really interesting, and probably one of the things that appeals to me most is being able to jump on the 4G network and basically get unlimited range, or range as far as your battery will take you. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But then again, you know, look at the price point and see if that's something you really, really need. Now, looking at the smart controller, I think that's the most exciting part for me. I would love to have that smart controller to fly all my drones with. And it looks like DJI has really got the processor. It's more big, it's more beefy. So they probably put a bigger, stronger, more powerful processor that will not, you know, be as glitchy and laggy as the older controllers. So that I would really love to put my hands on. But the price tag on that is anywhere from $1,160, if I saw correctly. $1,100, whoa, to buy it by itself. Oh my gosh, that's a hefty price tag. But I guess that's the price of smart controllers now, right? Autel is like what, $12.99, but you do get a bigger screen, right? But I guess DJI just felt, well, Autel set the price for the smart controllers, let's just put our price up there. So yeah, who knows when that's going to be available for purchase by itself, but that's a product. Those are the things I really pay premium price for, because the control to me is everything. Now, let's quickly talk about some of the concerns I have. Number one, to spend this kind of money on a drone that there's no mention of remote ID capability. Remote ID is going to pop up again next year, and then the following year it's going to be a thing. We know Mavics don't release every year, so is this I'm gonna have to pop a remote ID module on top of this now? Like, what's the deal with that? And then on top of that, if I'm flying at night, because what's the point in buying the Micro Four Thirds sensor, right? What excites me about that is the low light quality that you're going to get out of that. It's going to be even better than a 1-inch sensor. Why didn't DJI put strobe lights on it? So now I've got to probably drop a strobe light on top of it. When remote ID comes out, whenever the module comes out, I'll probably have to attach a module in. So that's 2 external pieces that I'm going to be strapping onto this drone to just fly it. I really wish the DJI had just put the strobe lights in there, just for the convenience, especially someone who's a content creator who might forget stuff. We've got 1,000,001 things to charge. Now we've got to remember to charge our strobe lights, and we've got to remember to bring it with us. The other disappointment is that, I'm going to be honest, this feels like a rushed release. I don't think this drone is ready. There's some release updates that they're saying is not coming out until 2022. Like, some of these smart shots are not coming out until 2022. The active track and some other features, a lot of features are not going to be out until January 2022. So I'm shelling out $2,200, $2,300 all the way up to almost $5,000, depending on which package I get or which package you get, to have to wait until January. The holidays are coming. Thanksgiving is coming just now here for us here in the US. Christmas is coming for us here in the US. There's a lot of things I can do with $2,300 to $5,000 than to just shell it out now to get that image quality now. Like, what is that image quality increase going to really do for me now? And then to just sit and wait until January for these other features to come out. Like, wow. And I'll tell you guys, normally I say when DJI releases a product, all you have to do is look at the price and make a decision whether you want these features or not. The Air 2S, that came out practically as a finished drone. The Air 2, that came out practically as a finished drone. The Mini 2, that came out practically as a finished drone. I did not expect now at the end of 2021 with DJI's flagship drone that they had how many years to perfect and tune to come out with an unfinished drone. Like, oh my gosh, and to call that kind of money. I really want to pick this drone up, but this is a really tough decision. So anyway, guys, that's my first impression of the keynotes. I know B&H has this drone on sale, and if you have a Paybu card, B&H has what's called a Paybu card. It's by Synchrony Bank. It's very flexible if you've got decent credit, and if you don't have decent credit, I don't know if you should be looking at this drone really, right? Apply for the card, you save the tax, right? I think Uncle Sam makes enough money that you want to throw away a couple $100 on tax that you could be paying in accessories. So check out the B&H card or just buy it directly from DJI if you're going to get this drone. Then you don't have to pay tax, but you do have to wait a while for DJI to ship. If you buy from B&H and you're in New York City, you can walk into the New York City Superstore and pick it up now. That's not the Fly More combo, but the basic package. If you just want to try it out and you have 30 days to return it, I would imagine it would be a little difficult to crash it. If you just want to test it out, go to a big open area and see if the image quality is that much crazy that it's something that you would want for that kind of money, because that's what it boils down to. Everything else is just incremental. And that's the way that this industry works. When you reach to a certain point and you want those little incremental changes, the price goes up dramatically. And that's why only the professionals will jump ahead and pay that price. Now, if you've just got money like that and you've budgeted and you're loaded, then yeah. Or you want to take the YOLO approach, then I guess, yeah, you only live once, right? But I have to make decisions based on what's best for me and what's best for my family and what's best for our goals financially. And when it comes down to money, the prices are $2,199. That's exactly what you'll pay, and you'll have it shipped to you for free at B&H or DJI. And that's with one battery and the basic controller that DJI has out. $2,999. That's $3,000. It's $1 short of $3,000. Let's call it what it is, $3,000 plus tax if you can't save the tax somehow. $3,000 for the Fly More combo. So you go from $2,200 to $3,000. It's $800 more. If it's $800 more, you're paying for 2 batteries, some filters, and some extra accessories. Not much accessories more in the Fly More combo. It's really the batteries that seem to be carrying the price on this. So bear in mind that even if you buy the single version for $2,199, these batteries are not going to be cheap, because you look at the Fly More combo, that's usually $300 more on their older models, their more cheaper models. This one takes an $800 bump up just to get a few more batteries and filters and a multi-charger adapter. And then, of course, $5,000. Listen, if we're going to sit here and have this conversation about should you buy the Cine package for $4,999, this should not be a conversation. People who are interested in the Cine combo should already know about Apple ProRes. They should already know that this is not Apple ProRes RAW. This is not RAW. You're not getting RAW like you get on the Inspire 2, right? I don't even want to get into this conversation because professionals already know about codecs. They've been color grading for years. They know what they're getting for $4,999. And if you're a prosumer or a consumer, you really shouldn't be looking at this for $5,000 unless you just want to really stand out from the crowd and just, you know, have something that the average consumer or prosumer will not have. Some people want that, right? Not everybody can buy a Lamborghini. Not everybody can buy a Porsche, but this can be your Lamborghini or this can be your Porsche, and you can say you have it, whether it's something you use or not. Make sure you hit thumbs up. Make sure you hit subscribe, all the good YouTube stuff. Make sure you give this video a big like, and I will see you guys whenever I can. Don't forget to hit that comment section up and let me know what you guys want me to do. I will see you guys whenever I can. Make sure you become a Patreon, guys. Big benefits to Patreon. Get direct access to me. Any questions? I'm right here on Patreon. Support this channel and there's benefits. Last Mini 2 went all the way to the UK.